And we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills because they lost to the Jaguars in London on Sunday morning, early morning. Which is more concerning, the Bills' struggles in London or the injuries on the defense? And Zach, you can answer this first.
Yeah, well, so I think overall, just from a 1,000-foot view, like I think it's a disappointing loss because it really gave the Bills a chance to cement themselves to say, you know what, we're really not messing around. We are the best team in the AFC, especially after what they did to Miami. Like if they could have turned that performance into another really good win over Jacksonville, that would have been a big statement in my book. You know, who'd they beat? The Raiders and Commanders. Like those were two dominant wins, very impressive. But what they did to Miami really had people talking like, man, is Josh Allen in the MVP conversation? Is this finally going to be the Bills' year? But I do think, man, with Tre'Davious White going down in that Dolphin game, he's out for the year. Milano goes down in the London game on Sunday. That's brutal. That's probably your best secondary player and your best linebacker, both out. And Von Miller, like, they're paying him a lot of money, but can he actually stay healthy? Like, can he consistently produce and be available each and every week? Like, he's an older player. Like, I don't know. And it's disappointing, too, because it's funny. Like, one of my concerns with Buffalo going into the season was I was a little bit sketched out about Wesley Frazier and why he would just leave this team when he was trying to, you know, get another head coaching job. But Buffalo's defense, I thought, looked significantly better this year under their head coach, Sean McDermott, with him calling the plays than it had in any other year prior. And I'll give them credit for that. McDermott was really having this defense up and ready to go in most games they were playing in. But without these guys, like when you're competing against Kansas City, when you're competing against the Dolphins in big games in the playoffs, like you're going to need these guys to slow down those offenses. And I think it's really concerning that they're losing these guys. And if this was the Bills' first game of the season, right, I think it would have been very easy for me to just say, you know what, Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, like they're fighting on the sidelines again. Why does their best receiver just allow his emotions to get to him each and every game, it feels like? But I just feel like those defensive injuries are eventually going to catch up to them if they don't get those guys back. And it's super disappointing because I actually thought Buffalo's defense was playing really well to start off the season, and Sean McDermott deserves credit for that.
Yeah, I think for me, I would have to say the Bills' struggles in London was a little bit more concerning for me. Now, obviously, both of these things are concerning, but if you had to ask me which is more, it would be the struggles for one reason only. Now, it's not about, you know, them going across country and having to, you know, adapt in 2 days. They landed on Friday. I also think they was unprepared for that game, but that's another topic for another day. You know, they probably could have got down there earlier.
The Jaguars were there. You know, the
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Yeah, they had an extra week and all that over there, and they played in London about 11 times over the years. So, you know, maybe the NFL is sending them a message that this may be a new home stadium in the future. If we do decide to expand, then maybe you're the team that's going to be playing there. So maybe that's a message. It's not about the Bills going across country and, you know, adjusting to the time, and that resulted in them, you know, struggling and looking sluggish. I believe the first 4 possessions they did not score or move down the field. They had to punt on all 4 possessions to start the game. It's because they didn't overcome adversity, which is something that I'm used to with this team. Not everything is going to be fair. Like, it's not fair that the Jaguars was already there and they had a week off to adjust to the sleeping schedule and everything in London, the stadium, the turf. They had the advantage, but not everything in the NFL is fair. Like I said with Kansas City, when you play them, it's going to go down to the fourth quarter and you're not going to get calls by the referees. It's not fair. But in order to beat Kansas City and to win games and to win a championship, you have to overcome adversity. And this is something that I'm not used to with this team doing. If they win by a blowout. They have yet to win close games in the NFL as of late. Recently, even last year, they did not win close games. So when you do have to go across country and you're sluggish, yeah, I get they battle back, but you have to overcome that adversity. And they didn't. So that's why this is more concerning. It's not only regulated to London, it's regulated to what I've been seeing. And when you talk about the defense, yeah, you have to be concerned there too. But they do got depth. You know, they got AJ Epinez. I understand they lost Matt Milano. They lost Tre'Davious White. But I still trust in this defensive line to wreck the game, right? When Von Miller comes back and he gets his reps in and he gets back to full strength, then he obviously is a game wrecker. We know he's an impact defender. So there's certain guys on your defense that are impact plays that can make a play and wreck a game and win you a game on that side. You have Josh Allen, still the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You have one of the best defensive players in the league, and Von Miller, still at his age. However, I think it's more concerning that this team has yet to overcome adversity. Not every game you're going to play is going to be good weather where you could throw the rock 40 times, right? You're going to be in situations where it's snowing, where it's windy, it's raining. Can you run the rock? Can you, overcome the weather? Can you overcome the situation? And once again, I just felt after they lost to the Jaguars, even though I think it's more about the Jaguars being good, I'm high on the Jaguars. I picked them to come out the AFC. I left that game saying that, man, once again, with a disadvantage or things not going right, the Bills didn't overcome adversity once more. And that's why I think it's more concerning about that.
Yeah, I'm happy you brought up, the Jaguars and how high you were on them. I was going to say, I'm looking at the odds just to come out of the AFC right now. You have Kansas City at the top, Miami at number 2, which I agree with. But then they have Buffalo in third at plus 500, and then the Ravens at 750, and then the Chargers and Jaguars at plus 1100. Do you still feel good about the Jaguars in the sense that you think they're more likely to come out of the AFC compared to Buffalo even after this game? Because Vegas is saying the opposite. Vegas is saying they still believe in Buffalo, with Jacksonville having much loftier odds.
I like the Jaguars. I think they showed me something in this game in the sense that they was able to win this game off of physicality. Like they was able to run the rock with Travis Etienne, who had a big game. And, it was like a bell cow thing. They offensive running game has not got going prior to that game. It's been obsolete. They haven't been able to generate the running game. And they found something in this game. And Travis Etienne just made plays. Sometimes the line didn't open up. The lanes didn't open up, but he still was able to find wiggle room to do what he do. Listen, this guy was a stud at Clemson. There's a reason why he ran for that many yards in Clemson. I was waiting to see that in the NFL. I'm like, yo, I know this guy cannot be this good in college. To be historically great, to not show some of that in the NFL. He showed it against the Bills, and I think they found something that they could carry up on. We saw what Calvin Ridley's true purpose is. It's not to be this every down wide receiver like Diggs is for the Bills. It's to be a fourth quarter guy that Trevor Lawrence can go to in the fourth quarter to make plays, to win on his routes, to get open with his route running. And that's what we saw. So I think they have the components. Christian Kirk is still a good 2. Zay Jones can still make a play or 2. Evan Ingram still could be that guy as a tight end. But in the fourth quarter, I have a number 1 alpha guy that can make plays in the clutch, and that's Calvin Ridley. And I have a guy in Trevor Lawrence who had arguably the best game of the season against the Bills in a big matchup against that high caliber team. So I think they're going to be able to take upon this. I think they're going to dispose of the Colts like they normally do at home. And I think we are going to talk about the Jaguars, how I talked about them in the offseason, making the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. I think a lot of people expected the Jaguars offense to be really good. And that was a big reason why people were buying into the hype. But the defense had some questions. And if I'm a Jaguar fan, I'm looking at these games and you gave up 17 points to Kansas City, you gave up 20 to Buffalo. If you were to just say that before the games, that should be enough points for Trevor Lawrence and this offense to win you the game. And that's what they were able to do on Sunday against Buffalo. I'm really looking forward to this Colt game as well because Jacksonville's looked really good their last 2 games. But even with that being said, the AFC South is much more competitive so far than a lot of people have thought. So that definitely will be a game I've circled on my calendar on Sunday. And that was a very important win by Jacksonville. I think they needed a game like that to say, you know what, we're still that team. There's a reason why people were so high on us going into the season. I thought Lawrence made some really good throws. He was great in that game on Sunday, and hopefully he could keep it rolling.
Yeah, and in closing, you talk about waking up and how the Bills were sleepwalking. The Jaguars, it's safe to say they woke up, and we'll see if they can carry upon that going forward. I still like this team, and I'm going to leave it at that.
Please like and subscribe for all the up-to-date content. You've been slinging shows left and right, slinging content left and right. Please don't miss anything. If you do, like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a question, something you may want to answer, something you may have. All ideas are great ideas. Nothing's a dumb question.